All right, welcome back to a brand new episode of Kickback with Chad and Ricky. I'm Ricky, that's Chad. And we got a new guest in the building joining us in this episode. We are talking to the McDonald's former head manager of culinary innovation. We are talking to the controversial face of Wendy's breakfast. And we're also talking to Dungeons and Dragons aficionado. Chef Mike is in the building. Mike, what's going on, man?
Hey! Hit the applause. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Nice.
So, Mike, you were a former manager of culinary innovation at McDonald's. What does that mean?
Yeah. So I was there for about 4 years. So as the manager of culinary innovation, it was my job to come up with new menu items for the U.S. menu. So, you know, if it was glazed buttermilk, crispy tenders, a spicy Big Mac, a bunch of stuff that actually never hit the menu. I was in charge of getting that stuff up and running and going in restaurants and training and making sure the restaurants had, I'd be on manufacturing plant floors, making sure the foods run appropriately and big old cog in the machine, I guess you could say. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun, most definitely.
Now, are we talking like, you behind a glass mirror looking at focus groups, or are you like in a science lab with beakers coming up with new concoctions here?
It would start out with like a normal kitchen. So I would make something like a chef would make it. Then we would do behind mirror glass focus groups, consumer screening. So a lot of everything that they did was very data driven. So as much as I would like to say, this is the tastiest thing I've ever had, put it on the menu. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. There needs to be a lot of like data and numbers and all that goofy stuff. And then after that, it would be understanding how we can make it and manufacture it for the McDonald's consumers. So not really labs and beakers, but there is some definitely food science involved to get things where they need to go, food safety, the flavors hitting right, and all that fun stuff.
So it's said that you were involved in the return of, it's a sauce that starts with an S and a Z. I'm going to go ahead and try and say it. Szechuan?
That's pretty good. There's lots of different ways, but I believe you're referencing the Rick and Morty Szechuan sauce.
That would be correct, yes.
So the story goes, and this is the official 100% true story of what happened, all right?
Let's go.
McDonald's gave away, there was like a sauce promotion for 10,000 bottles of Big Mac sauce, all right? So we gave it away. People came in the restaurant, got it. It went great. It was awesome. On Twitter, an owner tweeted at me, because I use social media. I did before McDonald's and I do today. Was like, hey, we gave away all this sauce. Shouldn't we give the people demanding Szechuan sauce that as well? There was an episode of Rick and Morty, third season, the first episode, where they talked about how this sauce was like the most important thing in the universe, and he needs the sauce to finish his story arc, and it was a huge thing. It is an adult-oriented show. I already liked it and thought it was hilarious, so when that popped up, I was like, this is ridiculous. So I responded publicly on Twitter. I said, I'll see what I can do. Okay? That's it. That's literally, those are the words I said. Like 3 hours later, thousands of retweets. The media says, McDonald's chef says he is bringing back Szechuan sauce. I'm not the boss. I don't make those decisions. So I had to go to right to the legal department, the PR people. I'm like, the internet's exploding because of this. I didn't say, they're like, oh, that's cool. But it definitely worked out pretty good for the most part. We made jugs of sauce as a giveaway promotion thing. I kind of buddied with Justin Roiland, one of the creators of the show. Everything was going good until D-Day, when we made, I think it was a total of 4,000 or 5,000 collectible sauce cups that were dispersed throughout the U.S. You had to go on a website, find out what location, where it was at. We thought that was very clearly outlined in everything that we did. Well, the lines of hundreds of people outside of McDonald's everywhere, when they found out, that you only gave away 12 at this location, you guys, and then everything went south real quick. I got horrific death threats. I got...
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. People went hard at me. And like I said, it went to a point where early off, I was like, yeah, this is what we should do. And as time went on, it was the higher ups at McDonald's making decisions. And by the end, it was just like, all right, Chef Mike, we're going to use your face and stuff, but this is what we're going to do. Okay, if that's what you want to do.
Oh
and that's what happened.
And
then
the
it went.
Power of social media, right?
Oh,
just tell us, because we know, and we'll get into you're no longer with McDonald's, but we got to know. Since you're in the Kickback with Chad and Ricky, what's the deal? Is there anything that you can disclose about McDonald's food? We talked about, Taco Bell, well known for having grade D meat and dog food, underdog food, all that. What's one thing you could tell us about McDonald's behind the scenes that the public might not already know about their food?
Sure. Well, and you're not going to like it because it's actually a positive, like, people think it's all horrible grade meat and the beef in McDonald's patties are fake and all that stuff. Yeah. McDonald's buys beef on the open market, just like all the restaurants and supermarkets, okay? Mm-hmm. It's the same meat. If you went to your grocery store right now and bought ground beef, it's literally exactly the same thing. I've been to the places where they make it. They were grinding meat, but that meat is bought on the open market like any meat grinder, meat processor. It's just 100% all beef. There's nothing else in it. And my favorite part about when I worked at McDonald's is people would test me. They'd be like, so what's that weird stuff you put in the beef patty? I'm like, it's 100% all ground beef. Nothing. It's like, no, I taste a thing. You put this. Okay.
Look, I lit it on fire in the middle of the Arctic and it's not burning. What is with that?
Right. That's another one. The myth of the burger never going bad.
Yes.
I can explain that to you right now. What happens is, because McDonald's burgers are cooked well done, if you leave that out, even if you made your own, there's salt on it, there's all that stuff, it literally dehydrates before anything else bad can happen to it. So think of beef jerky. If you let beef jerky sit out, it's not going to mold over. There's no water or anything to get the microbes, activated and making mold and breaking it down. So if you leave that bad boy on the counter, it's dehydrating. You're making it into jerky. If you put that in a fresh burger in a Ziploc bag, you might get 3 or 4 days, and it's going to mold like all the other foods because there's all that moisture in there. Right. So that has been debunked many a time. And once again, people still don't believe me. I don't even work there anymore. And people think I'm defending. I'm like, no, I'm just telling you the truth. What do you want me to do? Yeah. You don't have to believe me, but I'm just telling you the truth. That's how it works.
You heard it here. Former McDonald's chef says they use real food. This isn't a Joe Exotic Tiger King. Where
I wish I could drop some like hot fire knowledge that would blow your mind. But once again, it's like the internet comes up with the most ridiculous stuff, and basically it's like, no, that's not true. It's just it's ground beef. It's the same stuff you get. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Well, here's a hot fire topic. Yeah. How does a guy who's so involved with McDonald's end up being the face of Wendy's breakfast?
Yeah. So I left McDonald's on my own accord. I was like, I did not have the influence there that I wanted. I was not the boss, so it was getting to a point where it was, all right, I want to move on and make different foods, different customers and all that. At the same time, while I was also at McDonald's, I started doing a lot more social media stuff, kind of branding myself on the internet, doing stuff with, different content creators and getting a following and all that stuff. And McDonald's was like, yeah, we're going to need you to like hold off. You need to get approval from us. And I was like, okay, we're done here. You're not going to support me doing this. I'm going to go solo and stop working, in the machine.
For the
so
man.
A couple months go by, and there are brands that do social media really well. One of them is Wendy's. They respond to everybody. Their audience is very engaging. I'm like, that's perfect for me. I'm looking to get more of a following, more of a thing. So the stars aligned, and they're like, Chef Mike, would you like to promote McDonald's or Wendy's breakfast? I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Do you still have your old McDonald's chef coat? I'm like, yeah, I got one. Can you bring it? We'll film for a day or two.
Savage.
What happened was it was supposed to be just a social media thing. It went over so well that they then called me up and they're like, hey, do you mind if we use that footage and make a national commercial with it? I was like, sign me up. So for about 2.5 weeks, I was in a SAG-AFTRA commercial on TV. So I'm a Screen Actors Guild member. now, which is ridiculous. But so yeah, that's how it kind of panned out. And I have no more friends at McDonald's. So
Yeah.
I have a follow-up to that. So you bite into the breakfast sandwich, the Wendy's sandwich, and your reaction.
Talking about this a lot.
Was that real? Was that a genuine reaction?
I mean, they are delicious. So when you're filming something like that, they have 3 food stylists. They have a chef from the place. They're giving you the best of the version. So I'm evaluating it. I'm like, this is a fantastic breakfast sandwich. What is there not to like? Delicious bread, freshly cracked egg, cheese and melted hot. It's great. The hard part is if you have to do a scene 20 times, yeah, I'll eat the burger and swallow the first 5. But then it gets to a point where it's like, okay, I gotta just kind of chew just because I can't eat that much at one sitting. It gets ridiculous. But, you know, I'm getting the best of the best of it being made. So, of course, it's going to be good.
That's hilarious. Now, final question about, you know, fast food and breakfast is I need a ranking. We need from a chef, from a former fast food chef, the ranking of breakfast sandwiches. We got McDonald's, we got Wendy's, we got Burger King, and then we got a wild card if you want to throw one in there.
Well, all right. So this, and I'll give you reasoning why I'm choosing this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people's choices on fast food is either nostalgia or that's what they grew up with. So if you're from Texas, you're eating Whataburger. That's just what you do. Everybody loves it. If you go and then move away and somebody says, oh, Whataburger sucks, it's they're going to think you're crazy. I grew up on Burger King croissant sandwiches.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm familiar with it. I like it. There was a period where they made a crappier croissant like bread, but like 5 or 6 years ago, they went back to the original recipe because I've been having them all my life. So I'm a pretty big fan of the Burger King croissant sandwich, but my new favorite thing is Wendy's biscuit and gravy. Just biscuits slathered in sausage gravy.
How can you go wrong?
That's all. All right, that's it. It's scrumptious.
See, you have the insight. I didn't even know that Wendy's did biscuits and gravy, and I think a lot of it is the psychologicalness of it. Like you said, you get so caught up in routines and what you have. People don't realize that, like, there's no difference between McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King, but McDonald's been selling and serving breakfast, and same with Burger King since the beginning of time. Now that Wendy's has introduced it, it's new and foreign. Have you tried Taco Bell's breakfast, and what are your thoughts on that?
I haven't tried it recently. I got mixed reviews. I heard some people really like it. Actually, a wild card breakfast, now that you were talking about it, is White Castle. If you've ever had a White Castle breakfast, they are on their little sliders. They're making eggs fresh. It's actually a very tasty little breakfast sandwich. I recommend you try that as well if you can.
I think I get mentally psyched out by that.
Yes, I agree. You're like, I'm gonna pay for this after lunch.
Right?
But no, it's very tasty. Well, yeah. What's your favorite breakfast fast food place?
I'm a creature of habit. McDonald's Egg McMuffin or Sausage Egg McMuffin has never done me wrong in a day of my life. If I'm in a fast little hurry, you know, who's a little underrated is Dunkin'. Dunkin' started to put together a nice little breakfast lineup, and the lines are pretty short there. Give me my wake up wrap, turkey sausage, and I'm on my way with my medium coffee. So I probably put Dunkin' up there as my wild card. What about you, Chad?
Yeah, I'm actually, if Dunkin' counts as fast food, I'm Team Dunkin' all the way. That croissant sandwich, it kind of reminds me.
Do you know who was hired to help start Dunkin's breakfast program? Ex-McDonald's executives went over to Dunkin', and they're like, oh, these 2 for $5 deals. So there's actually, like, the food industry is big, but it ain't that big. Everybody knows what other people are doing. That is why you always see, like, oh, you're doing pumpkin spice. We're going to do pumpkin spice, and then they're going to do – everybody knows what everybody's doing at this point, and you know, you kind of see some similarities there. But
Nice. All right, enough about them and the big engines that run the fast food industry in this country. Let's talk more about you. You run a YouTube channel, Chef Mike Does Stuff, and we have been taking notes. We have been salivating over some of these concoctions you have put together, my brother. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about what you've been working on your YouTube channel and then growing your own entity and your own platform?
Absolutely. So like many folks who are working from home, I was like, you know what? I got nothing but time. I'm going to start my own YouTube channel. And when I was looking at other cooking stuff, whether that's TV, whether that's YouTube videos, to me, it always seems like it starts off with somebody that is slightly comfortable in the kitchen. Like, this isn't even the easiest recipe. It's like, you got to know how to handle a knife. You got to have a little bit of skill. So what I'm actively trying to do, which is, it's not hard, but I have to think about it, is I am not gearing my stuff to a trained chef. I'm not gearing my stuff to a foodie. It's for somebody who does not cook at all. Zero is uncomfortable, which is why I started out doing like, all right, here's how you make mashed potatoes. Here's how you make roasted potatoes in the oven. And I very much try not to do recipes. It's more, okay, cook a potato till it's done. I don't know how long that's going to take on your stove. I don't know how much water you're using. I don't know how strong your stovetop is. I don't know what kind of potatoes you're using. So here are the things to look for. Smash it with a fork till you know it's done. Put it in a bowl. Add a bunch of cream and butter. If you don't have cream and butter, you can use milk. You can use olive oil. You could just put a bunch of stuff in there and kind of get the gist of it. Make it once and you're going to learn. And the next time you make it, it's going to be better. So I actively, like, instead of using a whisk, I'll just mix the thing with a spoon. And I try not to use big culinary terms. And, you know, I have to definitely think about what I'm doing. And at the same time, I'm just learning what it's like to be a YouTube content creator. From my first video, I'm on my 10th. I got new lighting. I got a lav mic. I know what angles I want to do now. I upgraded my editing software on my phone so I can now do transitions and jump cuts. And so I'm slowly showing progress. But I also, if I make a mistake, because I'm making the thing from beginning to end in order, I shoot all right, I'm going to make this meatloaf. If I burn it, I'm going to bring you a burnt meatloaf and be like, listen, it messed up. Here's what it looks like on the inside. Because I already made the one. That's what you're going to get. So it's very relaxed. If you mess up, no big deal kind of thing. That's what I'm going for.
So, Mike, you're a married man. Ricky's a married man. I have recently just moved in with a girlfriend for the first time.
Oh, my gosh. Big steps.
Yeah, right. Very big. So let's say I screw up, just in life in general. She's upset with me. Let's say you've screwed up, Ricky screwed up. What is that ultimate makeup meal that I should be cooking?
Ooh, you got to go aphrodisiac dessert stuff. Maybe this is what you do. Maybe you're home from, well, now you can't because everybody's at home. But if the girlfriend's gone, leave maybe a little trail of little rose petal action from in the door. And then she's like, oh, here we go. She's ready to maybe take a little something off here. But those rose petals lead to the kitchen.
Right.
So you get to the kitchen, you got to have your strawberries, you got to have your whipped cream, you got to have your chocolate syrup. If you want to be real classy, go get one of those cheap chocolate fountains and just get all her favorite stuff and be like, honey, when you're done in there, the other path of rose petals, when you're done, you're full, you had your dessert. Right. Then maybe we'll spend some time together a little bit later, but go to town.
Enjoy
you really
yourself.
Want to play up the you want to play up the indulgence if you're trying to woo the significant other. Because if you're gonna put a low fat vinaigrette salad at her, that's not romantic. You need to go a little more indulgent than that. So
I'm all about it.
Nice. That's a great game right there. I've never thought of all right, now the rose petals that usually go to the bedroom. No. Yeah. Send them to the kitchen and watch it go up right there.
And the line is, you're looking a little skinny. I think you should eat a little more.
Right.
Oh, they love that. You're looking a little thin. I think you gotta go get some chocolate sauce and strawberries from the kitchen that I left there strategically for you, and they'll love it.
See, so Chad, no easing about it. Send it right to the direction where you think's gonna get her back right, and that's obviously through her stomach. So
The stomach, always.
hey, Mike, in your videos that you're cooking, obviously you want to tailor it to the fresh chef, to the new person that's making their way around the kitchen. But let's talk about some of the stuff that you are posting onto your Twitter, my friend. You are putting together some really compound interest meals. What has been your most complicated meal that you have made during these quarantine times? Let's put it at that.
Normally, so I'm a certified barbecue judge and I do barbecue competitions. So if I'm doing like a brisket or a pork butt, I'm doing all kinds of stuff to it. I'll be injecting it either with marinades, with brines. I might dry brine, so I'm adding salt and stuff to the outside of it. With a brisket, I might wet age it. So if you get it from the store, I usually get my stuff from Costco. If it's cryovac appropriately, there's usually a use by date on it. Well, I let it sit 3 weeks after that in the cryovac bag. If you're familiar with like dry aged, if you ever been to a restaurant and they say, oh, we've got dry aged something, they usually put it in a room with very low moisture. There's usually salt or somewhere involved to pull some moisture, and they let it age, and it gets a little stanky and a little, maybe there might be some parts on it that you got to cut off, but it's actually enhancing the beef flavors of that. It's giving it more tender, so it'll be juicier, and it'll get more, just like, it's like if you loaded it with MSG, but you're doing it naturally. It's just more beef. Well, you could do that with wet aging as well in that cryovac bag. I make my own rubs and sauces and all that stuff, so I go over the top. But for me, I seldomly use recipes. I don't like using recipes just because I'd rather, what do I got? I'll throw this and that. So even the most complicated thing, it's more like, oh, if I don't have that, I don't have agave syrup for my fancy barbecue sauce. I got the kids' maple syrup. I'll put some of that in there. Or I don't got a fancy, like, what have I been using? Like pomegranate syrup and like some of these weird stuff. I'm like, I got the kids' juicy juice. I'll use that as a base for something. I don't know. Or a Capri Sun juice box. I'll open that up, pour that Capri Sun in something.
The new series, Cooking with Your Kid Shit.
Well, I cannot confirm or deny, but I am working on potential TV show shenanigans. Nothing is solidified, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
See,
we'll talk about that offline. We'll talk about that at daycare.
Yeah, at daycare. That's right. That's right. If folks that don't know, Mike has two beautiful girls. He is the definition of a girl dad. I'm sure you love every moment of it. But I have a son, and they all go to the same daycare. That's how Mike and I linked up. And honestly, it was love at first.
100%. Over some margaritas. It was a real good. And I hear you want like, what, 5 more? Isn't that what you and the wife has agreed to? You say you want 5 or 6 more?
Okay, this channel's going to have to pick up a little bit more if we're talking about kids, dog.
Because we know podcasting is very profitable these days.
Lucrative. I am shitting my bills as
rolling in it.
Right.
I bet.
Hey, Mike, wanted to talk a little bit about some of your other passions outside of cooking and just being a social media savant. You're a big Dungeons and Dragons fan, right?
Absolutely. I play lots of video games, but I even go more nerdy and play a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons. That's right.
See, now, as I don't know if this is a surprise to you, but I have never played in my life. I would love for you to just give me the elevator pitch. You don't need to sell me on it, right? It's clearly one of the most successful video games. Well, it's not a video game. I'm sorry. It's one of the most
tabletop role-playing game, fantasy adventure.
Right. It is the most successful fantasy adventure games in the world. So talk to me about what you love most about it. How'd you get into it? And what would sell an outsider for getting into it?
Gotcha. Well, I played back in the day with my brother, like when we were in junior high and high school. Then in the middle, I kind of lost. I didn't really play too much of that. I was playing a lot of video games. And then, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, a couple of my brother's friends were like, oh, yeah, we started a game. Do you want to join? I was like, sure, okay. So after one day, I was like, all right, I'm going all in again on this and going heavy Dungeons and Dragons.
After the first game, you were hooked.
100%. I mean, I was like, this is once again nostalgia. It's everything I want. But I will describe to you what dungeon do you like. Do you even understand like how to play or what it is?
Yeah, sure. I understand how Monopoly works and like Sorry and all that stuff.
Critical Role Live was at the Auditorium Theater.
I was there. Were you there?
I was going to ask you. Yeah, so I actually filmed that. So that was my first taste. But yeah.
What, dude? I was there, man.
Yeah, I was.
But one of the because of my internet shenanigans, Brian Foster, who's like part of that group, got me some behind the scenes like early access tickets, so I got to go there. That was a lot of cool. That's crazy, man. If I would have known, could have hung out.
That was my first taste. So like Ricky, I haven't really dabbled much. So yeah, if you could just kind of paint a picture for us.
Imagine a world, all right? So there's a dungeon master. He's not playing. He's just like the rules guy and making sure the story is going. You as the player can do whatever you want, but determining if you are successful at it is based off rolling dice.
Okay.
That's literally it. So if you want to go, hey, I'm going to go pickpocket that person because they have a treasure map that I want, you roll. All right, roll for a stealth check to see if you do that. If you fail, then that person now knows you're trying to steal from them. They may fight you. They may slap you. Who knows? The dungeon master will determine what happens. And basically, it could be an infinite, never-ending story of just your, finding stuff. You got to go save somebody. This town is in trouble. There's an evil whatever, and you're trying to save the day. The more you play, you get experience points, which then you level up, and you could do cooler stuff.
Very cool.
And that's basically as simple as you could put it. But there's like books with rules and classes and races and, equipment and all this other stuff to kind of, it's not like a free-for-all. There is a little bit of a kind of a sandbox that you can play in. But you could decide, you know what? Our whole party, we're going to be bad. And we're going to just pillage and destroy. And they're, okay, all right, let's do it. And you could just go on a rampage. It's great.
That's fantastic. So I understand that you actually, now I need to ask, are you a dungeon master of your own home? Like, is that your setup? Because I understand you invite people over and you do the hosting. Does that make you dungeon master? And talk to me a little bit about how you incentivize people to bring their snacks.
So to go extra nerdy, I play in a 3.5 edition, which is an older version of the game. And then I'm a dungeon master for the newer 5th edition, which is what the Critical Role people play. But yeah, so I do what's known as a very homebrew game, meaning there are books with lore and stories and missions and stuff that you could take right from a book and play, and it's awesome. I make up everything. So the story that I do, I'm a very creative kind of guy, so I like make up stories and events and things like that. So, but the gist is you come to my house, I'm the dungeon master, I got all this stuff. If you bring adult beverages and snackerinos, you get some extra experience points at the end of the day to help, boost your character a little bit. So these people are bringing me stuff for imaginary reward points, which don't matter in real life. But then I get to keep all the leftovers, and I got a fridge full of beer. Strategery.
That's awesome. Genius. So when you're with McDonald's, I believe it's known that you actually pitched wanting to do some sponsorship with Dungeons and Dragons, but they passed?
Oh, yeah. So the Critical Role folks, there was a whole big Kickstarter thing where they are now one of the biggest Kickstarter programs like ever in Kickstarter. It was upwards of 10 million, whatever it was, that all their fans brought in. Oh, yeah. To make like a cartoon of a game, to make a cartoon of like a podcast that people watch.
Okay.
So like a year and a half prior to those events, I was literally in an office with the VP of marketing of McDonald's, myself, and a couple other people because I was the gamer nerd. So I was like advising. Basically, I was the subject matter expert for McDonald's.
He knows the shit.
They're like, oh, you want me to go to Microsoft headquarters and talk video games about like Xbox team? Yeah, I'm gonna do that instead of cook in a kitchen somewhere.
Right.
It allowed me to do a bunch of stuff, but I was in the office. We need to invest in this because their fan base is so passionate. They spend the money, they get tattoos, they make fan art. I would much rather have a big company market to like super fans of a thing, then cool, you got a Arches logo on a NASCAR car. And yes, millions of people see it, but that is not engaging content at all. Like, oh, there it is, cool. Where if you spend a bunch of money and like McDonald's paid to give a new set to your Critical Role people, they'd be like, this is amazing. You're not really advertising, you're amplifying the thing that I love. And I was like, that's the strategy you need. That's what helped me grow like my own social media stuff. And they're like, we don't know if it's going to be big enough. We don't think a lot of people buy. Fast forward, they did a Wendy's whole like Feast of Legends thing where they made Wendy's made a book with Critical Role. They're selling out theaters every time they perform. Like, they're huge in retrospect of like, you know, in the D&D world. But that's the kind of fans that people need to strive to get, not just your average person. But once again, they didn't listen to Chef Mike, and they could have been so much, you know, done so much cooler stuff, but they don't listen to the man because I'm just a chefy guy. I don't know what I'm talking about.
We don't know what Come on. About. I'm just an idea guy, right?
Yeah, I only just come up with all the things. It's no big deal.
Who cares about brand loyalty and culture? Yeah. It's whatever.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Wendy's brand loyalty. Yeah, I'll be.
Oh my God.
Hell yeah.
Let's talk real quick before we let you go. Wendy's has definitely cornered the market of being the real one of the social media group as far as all the fast food restaurants. They're not afraid to let some people know where they stand, right?
No, it's hilarious. And I mean, how mad can you get that a brand is talking smack about a brand? Yes, there's social media people running it, but it's not people talking back and forth to each other. They're brands, but people love engaging with, I'm talking to Wendy's. It's not like everything is calculated and formulated. They're doing it on, you know, strategically, and it's working. But like, that's the one thing I think is funny is like, I kind of understand like when I see some ridiculous stuff on the internet, like the Steakums. If you ever had Steakums before or ever heard of it, it's like a frozen meat sheet or whatever. But their Twitter guy is amazing and has built this like following, this cult following of people who love when Steakum says stuff on the internet, which absolutely helps their brand. I'm sure it helps sell more. But there's so many brands that just are an advertisement. It's a commercial. Nobody cares. You have millions of followers, but when you post the thing, nobody cares. Right. Why are you wasting your time? So Wendy's is not doing that. Some other people who we talk about are doing that. So that's right. That's my 2 cents. I'm off my soapbox now. I'm done.
No, I feel you. See, and that's just the importance of making sure that you own your own brand and you continue to build upon it. And obviously, Wendy's has done a great job in the engagement side of it. It's not just about having a bunch of followers. It's how you interact with those followers and how they interact with you. It's what's going to lead
100%.
to the dollar signs that you hope to achieve, or else what you're doing on social media anyway. You know?
Fact. Like just post pictures of your baby and talk to your auntie in, you know, St. Louis or whatever. Yeah. Like you don't need to be trying to make your thing a commercial because nobody cares.
Awesome. So I do want you to hop back on the soapbox for one more second.
Oh, I'm more than happy to.
What does the future hold for Chef Mike? Obviously, we're in quarantine now, but you seem like a guy that's really just getting started.
I have some potential moves happening, some potential things.
Okay.
One of which a production company said, you know what? Let's put a sizzle reel together and see what we can do. So I have that in the works. And it just so happens that like a bunch of other like smaller opportunities that, how can I describe this? People are coming to me, they want to engage with Chef Mike, whether that's video games, food, an esports group is like, hey, do you want to do some food content with our talent? Absolutely. Video gamer energy drink. Do you want to like mix together some of our flavors to make new? Yeah, sign me up. I can do that. You know, I'm looking to hopefully once I can monetize my YouTube channel, get some other brands and work with these kind of brands. But the big thing is, you know, maybe if we pitch some stuff and some networks might be interested in some stuff. We'll see where that goes. So
very cool.
You never know.
Sounds like we're gonna be hearing from Chef Mike as we.
I ain't going anywhere.
This world. through 2020 and beyond. But brother, we appreciate you so much for hopping on.
Pleasure.
Back with Chad and Ricky. Let the people know where they can find you and all of your shenanigans that you're working on.
Awesome. So you could simply just search my name, Mike Haracz, and it's spelled just like it sounds, Haracz. Harris, just like that. Goofy Polish last name. Or you could go on my YouTube channel, Chef Mike Does Stuff, or maybe I'll be in a commercial or a TV show. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Awesome.
There it is. Chef Mike, appreciate you having us. Let me run that back. Chef Mike, appreciate you being on with us, brother. Thank you.
Let's get some margaritas as soon as we can.
You already know, man. As soon as this quarantine up, we back at it, dog. Fat Rosie's on a Tuesday.
Let's do it.
Kickback with Chad and Ricky. See y'all next time.